So first, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
Okay.
Do you recall the first record that you bought?
It's the first record I ever bought.
Yeah.
Whew. I remember the first tape I ever bought, actually. Like a cassette tape. Do you know what that is?
I'm old enough to remember.
Okay, good. It was by a band called DC Talk, and I don't know if you know who they are, but it was my first piece of music I ever bought, and I ate that stuff up.
And what made you buy this specific tape?
My dad was coaching basketball for a bunch of high schoolers, and I was just a little elementary school kid, and they were all listening to this band, and I wanted to listen with them because when you're in elementary school, nothing's cooler than a high schooler. So I bought the cassette.
And did this instill in you the desire to make music? Or
No, not at all, actually. I didn't even think about writing music. So if you think about it, I bought the cassette when I was in first grade.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't start playing music until I was in 11th grade, so 10 years later.
But you're a self-taught musician. What then made you pick up the piano and other instruments?
What made me pick up an instrument? I guess identity issues, because I didn't know who I was, and I thought I was one thing. You know, it's like all about when you go to school and you interact with different kids, you try to figure out who you are. You know, what am I? Am I the jock? Am I the guy who's in theater? Am I in a choir? Do I play songs? Do I whatever? And I was really drawn to something different than what I was in high school. Because in high school I was a guy who did sports, and I didn't really like that, I didn't think. So when I first started learning how to play the piano, I think I just accidentally found that, and then I liked who I was when I was doing that.
So did it help you find your identity more?
Oh yeah, for sure. It was even inside of my own family. Like none of my family does any music or anything, so I was just the weird music guy, you know.
But was it encouraged or?
No, in my family,
yeah.
They didn't really understand what was going on because, like I said, none of them really are musical at all. But they thought it was cool. You know, it's like I set up a microphone in my own little studio in the basement, and my mom's washing the dishes, and she hears her son screaming his head off down in the basement trying to record vocals, and she's got to be thinking, what the heck is going on with him? So I'm sure that they were really confused. But now I'm in a different country getting interviewed by you because of the stupid songs that I wrote in my basement. So.
Fair enough. Do you still have those recordings, those very first recordings?
Yes,
Did you ever listen to them?
I have some of the first recordings I've ever done still on my computer, and I guard those with my life because I don't want anyone to ever hear them. You know, it's pretty ridiculous. You know, you look in your iTunes library, and I have just like tons and tons of songs labeled Tyler Joseph because that was my name, and I figured that was what I should call the person who was writing the songs. And now it looks ridiculous to see my name just copied over and over and over again because of all the weird songs I wrote in the past. Yeah, you're not going to hear those.
But something must have compelled you to keep them.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I mean, I've thrown away a lot of stuff, and I mostly throw away ideas now more than ever because when I try to write, I get a lot out of it. Like it helps me work through things.
Like in a cathartic sense?
Yeah, absolutely. That's my word, actually. That's my favorite word. Catharsis is I had that word as a vocabulary word in high school, and I'll never forget it because it explained exactly what songwriting is for me. And you don't need to keep the song in order to feel the effect of something like that. So sometimes I'll throw things away, but But back then, I didn't throw stuff away as much because it was so precious, because they were my first songs ever. You always hold on to your first songs,
Okay.
and they're terrible.
And then, well, looking back, how did you you describe them as being terrible? What then helped you develop as a musician?
Listening to other songs, I became a student of the radio and a student of the internet.
So, some specific bands, maybe, or?
Specifically, no. I think that I took different things from different bands. You know, there's an aspect of my live performance that I've taken from dozens of different performers. There's an aspect of the way that I deliver a vocal on a track that I take from 6 other people who record in a studio. There's an aspect of my songwriting that I couldn't even begin to talk about only 2 or 3 bands that influenced